Imagine a nation that plays a key role in biblical prophecy, a nation whose past is deeply tied to events foretold in the Bible. Surprisingly, that nation is Iran. When we think of biblical lands, we often focus on Israel, Egypt, or Babylon. But there's one place we tend to overlook: ancient Persia, modern-day Iran. Persia wasn't just another empire. It had a significant part to play in the fulfillment of prophecy and in shaping the future of God's people. From the days of Noah to the era of Cyrus the Great, Iran's history is interwoven with critical events in the Bible. What's even more fascinating is how God used Persia, a kingdom that didn't follow him, to rescue his people, rebuild the temple in Jerusalem, and fulfill prophecies that were spoken long before. In this video, we'll take a journey through the Bible to uncover how Iran's ancestors rose to power and became central to both Old Testament history and future prophecy. To understand the biblical origins of Iran, we need to go back to Noah's sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Genesis 10 tells us that Japheth's son Madai was the father of the Medes. The Medes, together with the Persians, would later form the mighty Medo-Persian Empire. The Medes settled in what is today Iran, and from this same region, the Persians would eventually rise to power. And this is just the beginning of Iran's role in the unfolding of biblical history. One of the most notable moments in history is when King Cyrus of Persia conquered Babylon in 539 BC. Incredibly, this was foretold by the prophet Isaiah over 100 years before it happened. Isaiah 45:1 mentions Cyrus by name, calling him God's anointed. But Cyrus wasn't just a conqueror. He was also God's instrument for a greater purpose. After defeating Babylon, he issued a decree allowing the Jewish exiles to return to Jerusalem and rebuild the temple, just as the prophet Jeremiah had prophesied. This wasn't just a political move. Cyrus's decision to restore the temple had profound spiritual significance. The return of the Jews from exile was part of God's plan for the coming Messiah. Fast forward to the New Testament, and you'll find Iran's ancestors still playing a key role. The wise men, or magi, who visited the baby Jesus are believed to have come from Persia. These men, scholars and priests of their time, had studied the stars and recognized the significance of his birth. Even in the end times, Iran is prophesied to have a significant role. In the Book of Ezekiel, Persia is listed as one of the nations that will come against Israel in the Battle of Gog and Magog, Ezekiel 38:5. While much of this prophecy is still debated, it's clear that Iran's story is far from over. Iran's history and future have always been deeply intertwined with biblical prophecy. It's a nation that, knowingly or unknowingly, continues to play a part in the grand narrative of the Bible. As we look back at history, we see that God used this nation to fulfill his promises, and its future role is yet to unfold. One of the most significant stories tied to Persia is that of Queen Esther. Esther, a Jewish woman, became the queen of Persia during the reign of King Xerxes. Her story is one of bravery and divine intervention. When the Jewish people faced annihilation by Haman, the king's advisor, Esther, risked her life by approaching the king uninvited. Through her courage and wisdom, she revealed Haman's plot, saving her people from destruction. The Feast of Purim, celebrated by Jews to this day, commemorates this great victory that took place in Persia, demonstrating God's protective hand over his people. Esther's story serves as a powerful reminder of how God uses unlikely people to fulfill his will. Even in a foreign land, her faithfulness shaped the destiny of her people. The stories of Esther, King Cyrus, and the Magi highlight Persia's deep connection to God's plan in the Bible. Each character played a vital role in fulfilling God's promises. In conclusion, the narrative of Iran is a tapestry rich with divine purpose and guidance. Each thread tells a story of faith, courage, and God's unwavering plan for His people. As we look back at history, we see that God used this nation to fulfill His promises, and its future role is yet to unfold. What do you think Iran's place will be in the coming events of biblical prophecy? Let's continue to seek, study, and understand these mysteries together.